Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today we're looking at what the best cards are from Pokemon TCG Pocket based on tournament data. And this tournament data is from Limitless. You can look at tournaments, or Play.Limitless, I should say. You can look at the completed tournaments and then the ones for Pokemon TCG Pocket. This data, it might actually not have some of these tournaments up here based on when I'm recording it, and obviously if there are tournaments after this, then those won't be done. But it's over like 70,000 games. I think I could be wrong on that number, but it's a lot of games. And so that's not, it's not a sample size that we're, really hating. It could be better. And ultimately, I've chosen to look at the cards, the like 50 or so cards with the most plays. And this is obviously because the cards with less plays, there's a few things. One, they're probably worse. Let's be honest, people generally play the better cards. And in addition to that, the other cards are also going like, we don't have as much data. Yeah, I'm just looking here. It looks like around 7,000 or 70,000 games. So that's a lot of games, especially for the cards played a lot. And a good way to judge the metagame and what's good is based on how many plays they've seen. This number here, like the 500 plus, all the way down to the very low numbers, which around like the bottom here would be around 20, is the number of times these cards have been played in tournaments. I'm not judging them exactly on that. I'm judging them on or in order to make the cut. I don't remember what the criteria is, but if a card doesn't make the cut, that means it's seen very little play so far. Even these cards down here at the bottom, like Arcanine EX, this single price or single point Charizard, Gengar EX, Dugtrio, like these cards aren't anything special and have not been played very much. So the data on them is pretty like mediocre to underwhelming, but also they haven't, we'll take a look on how well they've done as well, and they haven't done anything super impactful. The there aren't any cards that like miss the cut that seem particularly good either. So, anyways, the most played cards, unsurprisingly, are the two top decks in the game, which are Mewtwo EX and Pikachu EX, which are generally regarded as the best decks in the game. Mewtwo EX has incredible damage output and is able to essentially steamroll every deck in the game if it gets set up with Gardevoir. And Mewtwo EX and Gardevoir have been played the most. Looking at this specific tournament, Mewtwo EX has been played. Actually, is this the most? I think it is. The decks are like grouped kind of weird, but yeah, it looks like it is the most, but it is kind of close with Pikachu EX. Pikachu EX has been played a lot as well. Some of the like groupings weird, like what's Gardevoir Mewtwo EX versus Mewtwo EX Gardevoir. It doesn't matter. Also, this is Limitless, so Limitless. If I go here, Pokemon TCG Pocket Dex, it's currently not available. That's why I've had to get the data myself, which is kind of annoying, but I figured it out. So anyways, these are the top two decks. There are these four cards played at really high amounts, and then we see Electrode here, we see Raichu, Zebstrika, we even see like Pincurchin and Zapdos as well. These are played within Pikachu EX with Zapdos EX. Zapdos EX can be played on its own as well. I honestly have not, in just playing the game myself, I've seen a lot of Mewtwo EX and I've played Mewtwo EX. I've seen a lot of Pikachu EX, though I don't have Pikachu EX yet. And Pikachu EX paired with Zapdos EX and then Raichu, Zebstrika, some Pincurchin, some Electrode. I don't know if I've seen Zapdos played, but I've certainly seen a handful of things. I've seen Magnezone, or no, Magneton as well, and I've seen some different things, but I've not seen solo Zapdos EX. I have seen solo Articuno EX. Potentially the reason for that is if you have Articuno EX, then you don't have like its partners necessarily. I don't believe they're in the same pack. But then if you have Zapdos EX, I believe that Zapdos EX is in the Pikachu pack, so yeah, those two are both in the Pikachu pack, but then the Mewtwo pack contains Articuno EX versus the Charizard pack contains Starmie EX as well as Greninja, which are partners for it. And there might be some others. The ones I'm familiar with are Starmie EX and Greninja with the Articuno EX, which is decently high up here, as well as the Charizard EX deck, which I've seen a good few times with Moltres EX, which these are in the same pack, and Charizard EX and Moltres EX, and I guess Gardevoir EX Gardevoir and Mewtwo EX are in the same pack as well. And the Pikachu pack also has a lot of there's a good few lightning Pokemon. It has a Raichu, it has the Electrode, and it has Zebstrika as well. Is that not Zebstrika is shared. I don't know why it's like kind of showing up like this. I guess this contains the shared and the individual cards, but yeah, you have Pikachu EX and Zapdos EX plus these other things. So you'll generally run into those main decks on the ladder. That's what I've been seeing, as well as we see Weezing as a meta deck, and we see there's like these aren't necessarily as meta down here. I'd say the top four are things you'll see a lot. You see the Weezing, which I've seen a decent amount, and I've played. It's quite enjoyable. It's pretty cool. You have the Muck and the Arbok, but you can play Weezing with different things. We also see Dragonite, which you could play with it. Oh, I think I switched the order. And then oh, these are ordered by the way. Mewtwo EX is the most played. Arcanine EX would be the least played of these. So, and just keep an eye out. Obviously, most played doesn't necessarily mean the best, and we'll take a look at win rate in just a minute. But you also see stuff like the Executor EX, which is the highest played of the EXs, just in front of Marowak EX. I played Marowak EX, and I can say that deck, I mean, it's coin flippy, and so it has serious inconsistencies. Zapdos EX does have inconsistencies. Executor EX has inconsistencies. I mean, there are lots of coin flips. Like Moltres EX has inconsistencies, but it's not at the same level as Marowak EX, where you can be swinging for no damage and like it was committing 2 energy on a 2-point Pokemon to do 0 damage. That's really, really bad. And getting 2 heads is really, really good, and getting 1 heads is just okay. Well, Starmie EX has essentially just objectively better stats. They're not entirely better across the entire board. You do have less HP, but it's a better card, right? So if you're wondering what to get first, the first pack you might want, you could get the Mewtwo pack is what I went for. The Mewtwo pack does have each pack has 5 EXs, and the EXs are, as you can see here, the most important cards. So we see there are currently 15 EXs in the game, I believe. There are 16, I guess. At the time of recording this, the Lapras EX just came out, but that's not really counted here, and no one's played it yet. So or no one's played it at the time of recording in tournaments. So 3 in the like S tier, 3 more in A tier, 4 more in B tier. Oh, we see like Venusaur EX as well. Venusaur EX, Executor EX could be played together with like with the Lillian as well. But so we got 10 EX in the top 3 tiers, and then we see Wigglytuff EX, Blastoise EX, and Arcanine EX, and Machamp EX. So and Gengar EX. Is there an EX not here? I'm not sure. I don't remember all the EXs off the. Oh, I can search, can I? We don't have. No, I think we have all the X's on this list. So yeah, you see them all here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is 12, 13, 14, 15. Yes, they are all here. So all the EXs are on this list. Obviously, all the single point Pokemon are not on this list though. You see some stuff down here in this low tier, nothing too crazy going on here. I mentioned Lilligan. Grass is a less common deck, and it's a card that's not necessarily always played in grass, so that is why it is down here. Then you also see some interesting Pokemon like Hitmonlee, which are like a little techy, as well as the Pidgeot. Alakazam, I guess, is more like a single price attacker. As its main focus within its deck. You see like Jinx, which is a attack option within Gardevoir. I imagine that's its main use here. Then we do see the Blaine deck, where we do see the Magmar a bit lower than the Ninetales and the Rapidash. And we just have some like random stuff down here as well, like the random EXs. But ultimately, this is kind of like, these top cards are better. It gets worse as it goes down. But what matters is win rate. And this is percentage here. Oh, by the way, these bottom tiers are just like lower than that. The lowest win rate is around like 30 to 40%. It's like 30s, like low 30s. These are all 30 to 40% though. And the lowest card, the worst card in the game that's seen substantial play is its Dragonite. Yeah, Dragonite has some serious issues with its consistency, as in it's like all random from top to bottom. You are random whether you hit your evolution lines. If you played evolution lines, which presumably you have, you might miss them. But of course, you don't always miss them. Sometimes you'll hit them, but then you can still hit the wrong Pokemon. You can get the wrong energies, and your opponent could just roll over you before you can knock them out or whatever as well. So there are a lot of things that can go bad with that deck. It is a kind of fun deck, but has some serious issues as well. Then we see a lot of other single point Pokemon near the bottom here that are kind of like all on their own. A lot of these are kind of like just random Pokemon, to be honest. Like Kabutops, like I don't know where that one's going in. And like Jolteon, You got Hypno, just a bunch of just different Pokemon. In terms of bad EXs, you have the ones that you kind of expect. You have the high attack cost evolution Pokemon. You have Blastoise EX, which isn't in the bottom tier, but you do have Arcanine EX. Blastoise EX is low, Arcanine EX is low, Venusaur EX is low, and Gengar EX is low. You also see Executor EX pretty low here, right next to regular Executor. Oh, I didn't mention Farfetch'd um, and Meowth. Those are both good basic Pokemon that can be put into any deck, and Kangaskhan's kind of similar as well, though a little different. But we also see stuff like there's just a big mess of like mediocre cards in this low tier. Weezing, one of my favorite Pokemon, it definitely has struggles with damage output. So the single point Pokemon have struggles with damage output. The EX Pokemon have struggles getting set up at all. I mean, honestly, a lot of these single point Pokemon also have issues getting set up, like Dragonite and Kabutops and things like that. But then moving up a little bit, we see that you have some general tech Pokemon, which are Farfetch'd and Meowth and things like that. Ultimately, these cards are honestly just getting stuck into worse decks. And by the way, you would expect the average win rate to be 50%, but it's actually lower than that because of, well, it's not because of ties. Theoretically, it could be, but the way I calculated it, I didn't account for ties, which would lower it even more. But it is a little bit lower because of like people just uh, I don't know, like no shows, I guess would be what would cause it, where there's a loss without a win, or like a double game loss, which is probably due to people not showing up. Could be due to some like other like weird penalty thing, but it's probably due to people not showing up. So this middle tier is going to be, these are like average decks. These are above average decks over 50%, even if it's just above 50%. But yeah, in this below average tier, the Meowth and Farfetch are often just like put into weaker decks because you need to get help setting up. But then we look at the like mid tier, which is Gardevoir Mewtwo. Yeah, it's been played a lot, so it kind of evens out, but ultimately it doesn't have the strength, or at least the consistency and the strength. It has the strength, but not the consistency. Same thing with Charizard EX and Moltres EX. Honestly, these two decks are very similar. Charizard EX and Mewtwo EX are super similar Pokemon, which honestly I'm just like, I don't know. I understand they only have a certain amount of space to work with, but they're very, very similar Pokemon in effect. And also there's the big three. There's Pikachu EX, Mewtwo EX, and Charizard EX, and two of the three are very similar. And I guess there's some thematic stuff there, but I would like to see Mewtwo EX maybe a little bit different in some manner. I'd actually probably tone down its damage output, reduce its attack cost, and make it just like one energy you're discarding. I'm not sure. I'm just like spitballing ideas here, which aren't necessarily good ideas, but ultimately Charizard EX and Mewtwo EX are very similar in terms of what they literally do, and you are trying to power them up, but you need a stage 2, and you need a basic, and you need stuff to go in the right manner. Then we see some more of the gimmicky Pokemon that are in good decks. We see the Golduck, which is like a little sketchy, Magneton. We see the Blaine's deck as well in this tier. But then in the top tier, or the second to top tier, we do see Mewtwo. I don't exactly know why that's in this tier. I guess it's just a solid tech within the Mewtwo EX Gardevoir deck. We see Starmie EX, which is just a very solid Pokemon. Then all the top 7 Pokemon are all Lightning, including Pikachu EX, as well as Zapdos EX, Raichu, Zebstrika, Electrode, Zapdos, and the highest card on this list is Pincurchin, which is, it's like higher. I think this is the only card with a win rate above 60% that was played like an actual number of times. So these cards are honestly really good because of Pikachu EX. Pikachu EX is a really, really good. Zapdos EX is very solid as well. Like Articuno EX is a pretty good card. It's win rate's up there, but Pikachu EX is really good. It's like so clearly the best deck and best Pokemon in the game as well, because it does so much damage for so cheap and so easily. It does 30 for each of your bench lightning Pokemon, and it's only 2 energies. Your low HP of 120 does hurt you some, but it's not that big of a deal compared to the fact that you're faster than Mewtwo EX and more consistent than Mewtwo EX, so you're able to beat that deck, assuming they don't get set up super quickly. If they do get set up quickly, you can lose, but it is a very, very strong deck and very strong card. And to some degree, this does confirm suspicions of like what's good. Sometimes when you look at tier lists, or not necessarily tier lists, this is like just in a tier list format to present the data, but it's not really a tier list. But when you're looking at just raw data, this is data that I just put into this tier list. you see weird outcomes. Again, Pincushion, as I said, is the highest card, and Dragonite is the lowest. It goes left to right, and sometimes you see weird results, but these are not weird results. Pikachu EX is super dominant, and the new Lapras EX probably won't go super good against Pikachu EX because weakness, and I mean it's nothing like super crazy. But we'll see if Pokemon does end up adding cards to Pikachu EX or to counter Pikachu EX. We'll see if they actually nerf it. That is theoretically possible, though probably not likely. What they'll probably do is add on more powerful cards after, which it might cause problems, but whatever. We'll come to that if we get to it. Pikachu EX though is so strong, and I'm excited to get that at some point. Mewtwo EX is, as I said, what I've been rocking with so far. Well, I've been doing different things. Mewtwo EX is the best deck I have so far, certainly. But there are a decent chunk of viable Pokemon. Even these Pokemon down here in this lower tier are not completely unviable. And as the meta develops, we'll get more data and better data as well. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all the good stuff. So comment down below anything you'd like to hear about the data from me if you have any questions about specific stuff. But I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.